papers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so don't say anything about it.
Yeah, I'm sure with the guy in the back row.
There's a stranger in our midst.
Okay, we will get started out of respect to your time, and we are recorded for broadcast, but without a quorum in session, we cannot have any official action at the meeting. So this will be informational only, and I will serve as the chair. This is Doug Greenway, Director of the Corn Palace. So welcome, and the agenda that's in front of you, did everyone get one? There was on the podium there? Okay. Jeff, did you get an agenda?
No, sir.
I got it. Whoop.
Yep. So we won't take any official action. I just wanted to address we want to do a wrap-up discussion on festival, which obviously Nick and I are coming off our first one, and lots of good things we know we're going to change. We're excited. We were tired, but we're excited certainly for next year. And we will, because of contracts and things like that and financials, we will go into executive session to review some of Nick's information at the end. And then we can certainly go through our agenda items, and then we'll see if there's any public input, and then we'll go into executive session at that time. So first of all, on the festival, and I sent out multiple calendars, lists and things. General overview from those that were here, we heard nothing but good things. We just didn't hear, as a general rule, we just didn't hear anything bad about festival. Those that were here wanted to be here. They were happy to have the opportunity to come, and they really enjoyed the outdoor shows as a general rule. We, social media-wise, I think early on we had someone said, "Gosh, can't believe you're having that." One comment. Otherwise, everything was fairly positive. Nick, anything that you saw that was afterwards? It was all positive things.
Yeah, very positive.
You saw the story that the paper did last week, and that was pretty accurate because I didn't have a lot of our numbers yet. So a lot of that was anecdotal, but it's really come to true that we are about half of where we would normally be, and you'll see that when we go through the numbers. So I wanted to, Nick, do you have one of your sheets that I can have? Do you have an extra one?
Yeah.
So we actually had an event on Tuesday night as well. So we started on the 25th, and we hosted the James Valley Community Center Dance, and that was very well received. They couldn't have large groups over there yet, so we were happy to host that. We did a little $5 admission. We had a bar set up. The Texas Jammers performed, and that was a no-cost event for us to host. And we sold some concessions. And we'll get into some of the financials a little bit later. I just want to do a real quick recap on that. So tickets sold. Yeah, we probably had with the Jammers, we probably had 125 people in the building for that James Valley Community Center Dance. And so those Jammers, and we'll talk more about that later, but they were here all week. They played Tuesday night. They also played from 2 to 6, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then they were back here again Sunday night. And we didn't really pay that group anything. And there was anywhere from 25 to 75 people in here listening to them at any one time. So I don't think we would go that long again with that group, but we have a plan I'd like to share with you, and that'll probably be more like October, November as we move forward. But we want to include that group and do some kind of Palace City Jammer reunion every year and make this a stop. And if you haven't figured out, a music jam is simply folks getting up and say, "I'm going to play this song in the key of E as in Edward or D as in dog," and they start playing, and they're the one's the lead, and the others are just it's a jam session. And they had a ton of fun, and I will be getting numbers of hotels, but those people stayed here all week. We probably had well over 150 hotel rooms. I mean, there was 30 jammers here, spent the whole week. They came in on Monday and left Sunday, and they were in hotels and in campers and campgrounds. So I'll get a number, but it was a substantial part of the festival for them to stay over, and we did not pay them anything. So they brought some folks to town, and it's a nice event. That was Tuesday and then extended. Wednesday was our free show with Sherwin Linton. You know, that evening, that was the Oak Ridge Boys, he was the opener, we moved him indoors. On that Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when the stage was going up and the lights were going up. Thursday, Aaron Watson, you can see that we have 423 tickets sold, so, you know, we really thought we'd have 1,000 for him on a normal year. So that was obviously half, just under half. Friday, we sold 192 tickets. The entertainment was not expensive for Rusty Ryerson and Adam Pope. But was any of you at that show Friday night? I mean, what did you think of the music?
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, you didn't know them.
Oh, I didn't know them.
But for a $10 show, I really thought just for kind of like a beer garden type of situation, but there was also football games started that night, you know, so we just didn't have a lot of people out and about. I will say the Midway, that was one of their slowest nights, Friday night. They actually had twice as many on Wednesday night as they did Friday night.
Wow.
As far as tickets and rides and things like that. So, and then Saturday, which we knew would be our biggest show, 773 tickets sold, Restless Heart and Sawyer Brown. Again, great night, great weather, stage setup was nice, everyone enjoyed it. We would have had 2,000 people at that show on a normal night, and we would have cash flowed really, really, really well with that show. People love the outdoor stage. We had some ideas about how we can maybe make that happen, not getting that stage, but on a stage. As you can see, if you saw the big stage, there's just no way that fits on our plaza stage. You can't have a show like that. It's just not tall enough, it's just not deep enough and wide enough. So having a 40-foot stage that you can put wings on, space on the edges, that's what you kind of need to have. And then the light and sound guys put a roof on it or elevate the lights and speakers and things like that. So, and then we came back on Sunday, and that was actually a really good day. Nick and I had a chance to sit down and just kind of enjoy that Cowboy Church. It was really, really nice. It was really quite good. That, again, on a normal year, we'd have 500 people here for that. I'm convinced. That's something I would really like to try to bring back and do a Sunday combined event of polka. We had over 200 people for polka in there. Probably close to 300 watching polka with the players, the band, you know, all the other folks that were here. Those jammers were in the building, so we didn't charge them because they were playing music all week long. You know, there was 30 of them, so they were just here. Anyway, Cowboy Church went really well. Then we went right into the country music lessons, which was a ton of fun. Then Barefoot Becky was quite good, and they enjoyed that immensely. And then we had some Country Music Hall of Fame folks perform on Sunday night. But that, we lost quite a few after polka. We got down to probably 75 people Sunday night. You know, it's kind of like long week, and people were heading out. Jumped into the Midway Amusement. They had less rides here, so, and I had said this before, it was important to note that Gold Star subcontracted with McWhorter Entertainment, which we knew they were doing, because when COVID hit last spring, they'd lost all their workers, so sometimes four carnivals combined to make up in travel. And we knew that. They were very upfront with us. We dealt only with Gold Star people on our end, but we had no issues with the carnival people. Mike Featherstone Jr. was here the whole time, very responsive and helpful to us. I mean, he was full of joy to work with, and he said, Doug, we will be back better than ever next year. He said, we're trying to do the best we can with what we've got. They did not have as much here as they had in past years. You know, and when you really start looking at what they had here, so some of the bigger rides that kids would ride multiple times just weren't here. And so consequently, our numbers were about half of our take on that, which we can get into during the executive session. Wednesday and Thursday were big nights for them. The vendors, we had more vendors than we had in the past. On the sheet with the yellow highlight, you can see vendor rentals on there. We had 2 no-shows, but there are no refunds on those. And then we had one that the wind destroyed it on Friday night or Thursday night? Thursday night. Sort of destroyed his tent, and he just packed up and left.
Ramped it up.
Was it really windy?
Well, we had a gust come through.
After
Yeah.
Aaron Watson? 'Cause I was.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
after Aaron
Yep,
Watson.
yep.
Yeah.
And about 1:30 in the morning. In fact, yes, I had literally just gotten home, 12:30, 1:45, and hadn't gone to sleep yet, and all of a sudden this tree starts swirling, and then, oh no. And then we came back, and very little damage, but this one tent, he wasn't prepared for our festival. He had cement blocks to tie it to. He tied the strings around the legs of the tent. It was just one of these light shade tents you have at a ballpark. It was not commercial quality. It just completely destroyed, and he left all of his product out uncovered. He was a candy dealer. I mean, you just can't do that. I would have been concerned that he was selling candy that was exposed to elements anyway. He just had the box lids closed. So he wasn't prepared. So he ended up leaving. But again, we didn't really miss him at all. Otherwise, we had just a few electrical issues, more about moisture and breakers. Our staff were able to handle that with no issue at all. Not the things we'd expect. Nick and I, we took pictures. Betty's following up with thank yous to vendors and a survey on what they would like to have done differently. We're going to do some spacing differently next year. Not having seen how it was done, I'm just going, oh yeah, we got to do this, and we can easily make that a better experience for the vendors and for the people walking down the middle. We can gain about 6 feet in the middle of the street very easily, probably closer to 10 feet. And we can space them out a little more. We have plenty of street.
Was it supposed to go farther down in front of back 40?
No, we always intended to go north of 6th Street.
Okay.
Yep. And people ask if we open the street, but then you have to U-turn, which is illegal, and then you get traffic going into that area. We actually had a car on Friday night. The drunk driver went right down Main Street, plowed into picnic tables, and he was arrested and hauled away. So,
I do think, though, next year, if that's the plan, we need to keep Main Street open from 5th to 6th. Because there was just those Democrats and Republican tents. We could move them somewhere else to leave
and leave that
traffic
intersection
flow.
open.
Yeah. I heard a lot of negative comments about,
space.
all the space that could be used for parking up and down that street, and then traffic, too, could turn onto 6th. And I know the mini donut stand gentleman was there. Could we move him? Could we utilize chamber courtyard plaza space in front of the chamber? There's that big space that, we could use too. So, again, we'll have to get creative.
I would tend to agree. I mean,
Unless we can fill up 5th to 6th with vendors and whatnot.
Knowing how much space we had, problem is by putting vendors down there where there wasn't any rides, there was no traffic, which is why we moved them up. So they had a much better experience. Our vendors were pleased. They really were. No one came, other than, they said, yeah, the food vendors were about 50%, which we were seeing too. But the soft goods vendors, they had one of their best years. Yes. Position.
Food vendors and variety.
Yes. Yep. So they were pleased. Yep. And again, a lot of anecdotal things, but that's why we're doing the survey. We've got some hard information put in a file and say, here's what they said. So I don't think that's been done. If it has, we don't have any record of it, but we're gonna evaluate them and have them evaluate us. I told Nick we have to be willing to accept what they say too, and take it and say, here's a common theme, constructive criticism, or I think there'll be, I don't think there's gonna be really nasty stuff, because we would have heard that already. We were able to, I was able to, and I don't know if that hadn't been done, but I didn't get a lot of time on the Midway, but I did go to every one of our vendors, thank them for being here, introduce myself, and via Facebook and some other folks that came up and said, hey, we appreciate that. They're working for us, but we're glad they're here, and they had a rough year as well, so they were happy to be here. And a very simple thing, but they all will get a thank you from us, an appreciation note, as well sponsors. So those are the things I'm actually working on right now. We just last week was kind of a catch your breath a little bit. We got a few urgent things done, and then Nick took some time off. I took a day off to kind of flex from the festival week. So we'll kind of back at it obviously this week. So other than, we'll get to the financials later, any feedback on concerts, Midway vendor? That you want to comment on now? Okay. Well, we need to look at August 25th to 29th, 2021. That is a Wednesday through a Sunday, and that is the 2021 festival. That is the week after Dakota Fest. If Dakota Fest would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the week before, kind of thing on a normal year.
Dates again, August what?
August 25th to the 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I did not check about sports calendars on the Friday night home. Here's what we know about entertainment. And we announced that at one of the concerts. I think JP said it. So Whiskey Myers is contracted for us on Friday night, the 27th. Okay, and that was so that's not a secret. That's known. Johnny Rivers bumped his next year same night, Thursday the 26th. So Thursday the 26th, we have entertainment. Probably a local opener. That would probably be something new, and we'd invite them back. So I guess pending some discussion, they were a good fit for Johnny Rivers. They were thrilled to play with him, and we had to cancel them. Whiskey Myers, and then, as you know, Black Hawk was the other one that moved. They would like to come back and play the festival. Romeo suggested, given that Whiskey Myers is going to be on a major tour next year, and they're quoting $25,000 more than we're paying them. They're honoring the contract they have with us for this year, which is $25,000 less than they're getting right now. We feel good about that. We feel good that they want to come and play the Corn Palace. They've been in South Dakota quite a bit, and they've got a good following here. They know it. Romeo suggested that Black Hawk may be open for them. Now, we don't have to decide this now because we'll have our complete financials, final draft after our next and all that's calculated. We just don't have it yet, as you'll see. Whether or not we want to do that. We do have 2 new board members coming on in October. I'm a fan of doing something with Mitchell Tech, Dakota Wesleyan, young rock type of thing. I don't know if that's a Wednesday night, if it's a Saturday night. You as a board, we need to kind of discuss that. Blackhawk wants to come back, and they're currently held for us on that Friday, Saturday. They could either be an opener for Whiskey Meyer, or they could be a headliner on Saturday like they were going to be. And they were not obligated to manage their contract. They canceled on us. So I do have contracts for Whiskey Myers and Johnny Rivers. So, and then I would like to do something with the Jammers on Sunday, 29th, kind of a combined show. We're going to do something different with them. If they want to play during the week, I will assist them, but it won't be in the Corn Palace. As you know, on a normal year, we'd be inside the Corn Palace. We could never have them play every day outside in that heat and wind and whatever. But I like the fact that they're here because they brought literally hundreds of hotel rooms, and I want to create an annual vibe of some kind for Palace City Music Jam. So the area community theater is an option. They've gone dark during festival week, and if we could maybe get some support from SDA to help offset the rental costs, they could actually do their music jam there, and on Sunday they come over and play the Corn Palace Festival or inside. And we'd have our lights and sound down, and we'd be able to be set up for them and have a Sunday event inside for, and probably a pre-show type of thing, again, some focus of country music, some Texas Jammers, maybe Cowboy Church again, or something like that. A gospel program of some kind, with pretty minimal costs. So we can talk, we will be talking more about that because with entertainment, we'll want to know what we want to do. We got a couple new board members, so I really wasn't going to move on that today. I just wanted to let you know we have 2 contracted and a third that would like to. It's just whether where they go. Any questions about festival lineup 2021 right now, or anything further? I'd like to move to Corn Palace murals just briefly. So because of COVID and Dakota Wesleyan going on hiatus, we never had our play and stay, right, theme. So we hate to think, well, this is an easy year, but basically, we never used that theme. So we've still got that. The plan will be that we will replace, the corn crop's very, very good. They'll start harvesting this week. Our guys would have actually started tearing off this morning, so the weather was kind of cruddy. So they'll start tearing off this week. We'll be tearing off the last 4 murals on the south side. Okay, so those are the military-themed ones. And then we've got, of course, the motorcycle. We've got the Badlands with the mountain goat. We've got the mountain biking, and then the fisherman, walleye. And those are done as far as on the tarps. And then we'll put Stay and Play 2021, Stay and Play on the front marquee, and we'll replace those 4, and we'll use our own staff. We'll need to maybe hire part-time as a corn cutter, but Jeff and Austin will do all the application. We will not hire any decorators. They'll be able to handle that and be done before Halloween, they figure. Because quite honestly, with our hours, we're overflowing our hours on a part-time employee in Austin Kleinsasser. So, but we will be done in 4 to 6 weeks with those. That's the plan anyway.
And you're pretty satisfied with the murals we're going to remain out there? They look bad.
They look, and you got to remember, we just finished the one in January. I mean, literally from November, Thanksgiving to January is when those were put up, and they look tremendous. Yeah, we feel very good about them getting into next year with no issue at all. And keep in mind, we have this wonderful corn crop. We'll be storing corn, and we'll be able to replace corn next summer that's bad. And we'll start probably on the big ones with our new theme, which we'll have to get into at some point. But if you're okay with that, we would do the 2021 Stay and Play, and of course it's the 100th anniversary of this building, of the Corn Palace building, and that's already up. It looks great, 100 years, 1921, 2021. And so I think that looks good up there. Pretty simple, or what our plan is, and then we'll have corn stored for next summer. And so, wonderful rye crop this year. I mean, our rye was PLL, but the farmer purchased rye, so we had plenty of that. Yeah, we actually have some rye stored now out in our in the storage facility if we needed it, and then we'll have a very good corn crop. It's in good condition.
So it would be really nice to have that 1 year supply of corn. So in reality, as we've always kind of wanted to do, is at least start on the murals while the tourists are coming through.
We get calls, not daily or emails, but multiple times a week, when's the murals going to be started? They want to be here when that's going on. So having our, right in the middle of tourist season in June, being able to do that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Absolutely. And then it's just more efficient with your staff. I mean, on a normal year, we'd had 10 or 12 decorators. We hired no one this year. We used our concession staff and our full-time staff who, March, April, May, they did all the maintenance. And granted, they're expensive decorators, but we were paying them anyway to be here, and we just worked their projects in. So and our concession kids, Nick found some that were willing, and they did a nice job. We used a few volunteers from the public transit were here. We had some community service folks here a few times. So we felt good about how we did that, and we think we have a good plan for the corn.
I think one thing we have to be careful of with that in mind is the visitors that do come. In the past, we'd have 4 or 5 murals torn off, ready for corn, and they'd sit empty for weeks. And our visitors are here to see a completed project, not something in construction, if you will.
I think Jeff is on board with this, the decorator, that we would tear off and replace. I mean, we've got.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jeff would do a great job.
Yeah, and it's not, they just never really approached it that way. It was a different way of thinking about how to do it.
But that was the one concern. I mean, we were under construction, actual construction, for a couple of years, and then we ripped off half the building for the summer and couldn't get corn and one thing after another. But if we can take it down and replace it, yeah, the visitors would absolutely love that. They love watching the grasses being tied together.
It's kind of nice. It keeps the decorators a little fresher, too, because they're not just tearing off. They actually get to create. So it's kind of more fun. yeah, I think we've got a good plan, and we've got, again, a good corn crop, and we'll be able to store it and keep it in good condition this year. So, anything more on murals? Okay, one last thing before public input, festival board reorganization. So, you know, it is important, I mean, I depend on the board for feedback and the sounding board, and when it comes to festival for, you know, our sponsorships and things, and I'll get more into that later, but it's important we have folks that can attend the meetings, you know, so that we can actually do business. Otherwise, you lose a whole month, you know, waiting. We've had to do that a couple times, and so I will get better at making sure the schedule's out, the reminders are out, and that. We have 2 board members coming on in October, so that will be appointed by the mayor. They are Stratton Havlick and Jordan Gow. And the mayor will be getting me their contact information probably tomorrow, and we'll reach out to them, make sure, and they'll be hopefully be in attendance. We have a meeting date set, but we'll have to make sure that dates and times work for them. And I guess at this point, we say, is this a good time? You know, the first Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Does it get too late in the day? I know sometimes when basketball starts, games are starting at 5, and all of a sudden 5 o'clock comes around, and people get nervous and they have to leave. And so I'm completely open. I mean, my job is to be here for the board in the Corn Palace, so we can accommodate. I mean, if you wanted to do something that, you know, typically we stay away from other meetings. There's nothing else in here on that Tuesday. There's something at noon sometimes. We could do it 3 o'clock, you know, which sometimes at the end of the day, we could do 3:30, gain an extra half an hour. So you're done by 5. Most of our meetings would certainly 90 minutes would cover them. So we can kind of think, we can't take any action today, but I would certainly could send it out to the board, and we'll welcome the new members and have them here at our first meeting, and we'll plan for 4 o'clock unless we can do a little survey and say, let's go earlier. I kind of like the first Tuesday of the month. It's just what time of day. You know, do we do our noon's better? You know, there's no civic organization on Tuesdays, I don't think, at noon.
We got lunch on Nick in the concession stand.
We could probably make that work.
Pallet dog.
So 2 new board members. But what that brings us to is Stacy has been on for 2 terms, and so her time is up on the board, and certainly appreciate that. We have a little gift bag. Yeah, show them what you got in there. We found a kind of, those little Afghans are quite nice.
Yeah, we got a fro, or Afghan.
Yeah, oh yeah, my mother would call it Afghan, but it's, yeah. Oh yeah, you can, Afghan?
No, I call it a throw.
Oh. So it's a corn palace, yeah, it's got a, but,
Popcorn balls and a pen and a mask. So I know when I designed or.
and that's, yeah, that's unworn, by the way, that's brand new. We didn't even wash it, it's brand new.
There's one by Mark Miller or Craig Brown.
But, you know, as with any boards, Stacy, we certainly appreciate, because, you know, there's other things. You have your normal job, you have family things, and you put yourself out there, and we appreciate that very much, as we do all our board members.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy being on the board.
Do we have a year on them? I looked once, but it does have the new sign on the front, and it's got the old domes. Is it 14?
No, it doesn't say.
But it is the old, you know, do you have something new?
So,
Like next year's murals?
yeah, well, full disclosure, we have those, and they just stopped selling them. We had a room full of things, as you know. We tried to sell that, and then when tourism started this summer, we had to stop, and we haven't. So, but we're happy to give that to you, and hopefully you can remember your time on the board fondly. We appreciate it. And then we will, you know, if I'm out of blankets for the rest of you, we get done. I don't know. So any questions about board reorganization? I will just, you know, one of my improvement plans will be to clearer communication, a little more timely, make sure that folks know and how important it is that they are here, and if they have a change in their career or life that, you know, just can't make the obligation, we can do substitutes too, you know. I've always felt if I'm on a board, I want to put my time in. Like right now, I have a charitable foundation board meeting that I'm missing that they moved it. You know, sometimes you just can't do that, and if we miss too many, it's not a good situation because we do depend on the board members. So, All right, no comment on that. We invite any public input from the audience. All right, hearing no public input at this time, we'll stop the recording. We'll go into executive session to discuss financial contracts with the amusement and festival numbers.